Hey guys, I wanted to put together a quick video before the league starts that kind of at high level explains my thought process on why I chose the regions and the relics that I did and how they're going to intertwine and work with one another. I'll be streaming the entire league on my Twitch channel. I'll be linking that in the description below. If I can figure out how to multi-stream to YouTube before then, I might try and do that too. But I'm gonna take this video and I'm not gonna reveal all of my hidden secrets and tips and trips. So if you're looking for that, then sorry, that's not coming. I'll talk about my regions and my relics. So we're talking about Candlewind, Wilderness, and Terranwind. These are the three regions I'm going to be picking. I'm picking Candlewind because of the fletching shops, the amount of farming resources between the patches. There's a lot of fruit trees. There's 3 of them, I believe. So it's going to make farming really passive and easy. Thieving Clues is really strong in Kandarin. There's a lot of easy early game quests that help train your stats very effectively, especially melee stats. And things like Sea Slug and Fight and Monk's Friend exist as well. The PVM in this A region is pretty weak. You have Demonic Gorillas, Kraken, and Thermonuclear Smoke Devil. And while the Echo Boss may be a challenge, none of these other things are particularly challenging or difficult to do. Just kind of brainless hit the boss until you get your drop and move on with your life. So it's pretty easy to run through points fast in this region. It's a strong early game glue region that and the Echo item is insane. I'm sure everybody's heard about it and been reading about this Earth build. It's really good. So that item is going to carry our DPS late game when we go to actually do all of our PVM in the other regions, maybe even in Kandarin as well. Going to jump over to the Wilderness next. We're picking the Wilderness because this area is traditionally known for having high points per hour tasks. The PVM in this area is typically low skill, low effort. It doesn't really require a whole lot to do. Things like acquiring the Revenant weapons, especially when you have a Slayer relic that lets you be on task all the, I won't say all the time, but like whenever you're actually killing Revenants, you'll be on task. It's very, very good for speeding up the drop rates for those items. The Wilderness also just solves random skilling problems you just didn't expect you'd have. Like, everybody knows that we're doing, not to skip ahead to Terranwind, but we're doing that crystal smithing method, but you got to get to 60 or 68 smithing to start it. The Wilderness solves that for you. You get steel bars out of Laren's chest and you're set. You get 1 drop and you're good. That's it. That's all you need. So, that's just one example. I don't want to go through the whole gamut because I'll spoil everything, but the last thing in the Wilderness that you want to look out for, and something that I've publicly spoken about, is Black Chinchompas and Chinchompa Slayer. In these Wilderness Slayer caves, there is Dust Devils, Jellies, Abyssal Demons, and Necreals, and there are a lot of them. They're multi-combat. They can be stacked and barraged or chinned. So we will spec into Chinchompas with our Pacts while we are on our Slayer grind and be using the Wilderness as our Slayer engine region in order to get us to 93 as quickly as possible. And so we can get our Therm unique and start doing damage to stuff. I love damage. Next region is Terranwind. Once we're done with our Slayer grind, we should be able to unlock this region. We have our beloved 50 mil smithing and crafting cheese that happens because of Larcenist. We have a relatively high-end, easy task list of Corrupted Gauntlet, Zulrah, and Zelcano that make up a majority of the high-end points in the region. And But, we do kind of want to be strong in this region. I do want prayer penetration from those pacts. So because of the pact requirements, and there's a lot of Slayer monsters that have Slayer requirements to kill in the cave and things like this, so you do one-offs of, I chose to put this region last. I didn't see any reason to take it earlier than 3rd. So these are the 3 region choices, and my relics will tie into them, and I'll explain them as I go through here. Abundance. Abundance is the best relic for Rushing Dragon, period. Obviously, it's not the best for maxing. It's not the best for capping it or getting all of the points you can possibly get in the league. But it's enough to really push our early game forward. It gets us earlier access to tasks and training methods with the +10. So it's not as crowded, and I'm not having as much competition trying to find a hunter spot. These things matter a lot, especially when you're racing. The money from Abundance is insane. It lets us do a lot of viable tasks ahead of schedule, which gets us to a higher power spike faster. And, one of the big benefits is we're getting 200 mil flushing for free. Kandarin has a shop that sells arrow shafts and feathers and arrow tips and There you go. I mean, you're getting so far ahead on money. You get, I think you make a little over 300 mil. If you do adamant arrowheads to 200 mil fletching, and that's like a 400 point test that you're just getting 0 time while you're running around the game. It's just very, very strong. So I'm on abundance. The next play is Woodsman. This relic lets you hunt things to death. It's really great. You catch everything you try to hunt. You get 2x the amount, 2x the XP. The loot goes to your bank. You get an herb seed or a fruit tree seed or a tree seed every time you catch something. Your fletching actions are 10x, so fletching all those arrows is a lot quicker and a lot less carpal tunnel. That's a lot. I love that personally. And fire making. People overlook this fire making thing. I actually think it's really good. Fire making is kind of slow and it kind of stinks to train. It's not exactly very fun. And being able to do that passively while woodcutting is a super nice feature that I think people actually underrate about this. So when I look at this thing, it's essentially Trickster 2.0 to me, and there's no doubt in my mind that this is the strongest one to get moving fast. And the other two have merits, but I'm not gonna discuss them because they're not one I'm picking. The next pick I'm gonna make is Map of Alacrity, which I think is a huge skill test relic. When you look at this thing at face value, you're like, the agility shortcuts are a little bit weird. I'm not sure I want to go. I'll just give you one example that I'm going to use this a lot more than Evil Eye for, and that's for Slayer in the Wilderness. There's agility shortcuts in the Slayer Cave near all of the Slayer monsters, and I absolutely will be utilizing that to go to my Slayer task very, very quickly and save a lot of travel time. I found that a lot of bosses actually have teleports that are fairly close to either fairy rings or a burning amulet location or something like this, and you typically only really go to bosses like 2 or 3 times. You know, you get your 1 KC task, you get more KC, and then like sometimes you accidentally die, so you go back a 3rd time, you know. But, you know, 2 to 3 times is about the amount of times you'd expect to probably go back. Maybe you go a little bit more if you need to get food every kill or something, you know, like, but I saw myself finding odd use cases for Alacrity outside of Slayer as well that were high value, and on top of the Slayer use case, it just infinitely outweighed utility-wise, or not infinitely, but like it definitely just outweighed the utility of Evil Eye to me, and so I decided I was going to take the map. The next relic I'm taking is Transmutation. This is probably one of the coolest relics ever made. This lets you up and downgrade resources. It's a limited list, and you can't do bars and herbs and things like this, but tree seeds, herb seeds, allotment seeds can all be changed to things that you need for making potions for tasks and things like this very easily. Now I don't have to find snapegrass seeds that are kind of hard to track down sometimes. I'll just turn these potatoes into that. Perfect. Awesome. Great use case. Bones? Man, these are now Dagganoth bones, or superior Dagganoth bones. All those bones from your hunter rumors, those are now Dagganoth bones. I mean, it's the rune use cases with transmuting runes so that you can actually cast your spells. You don't need, you don't need rune crafting levels or certain regions for wrath runes, for example. Anywhere you can just transmute them. There's on top of that, you're getting an insane amount of passive magic EXP automatically without having to like spam click it. It's just super nice quality of life. I can't say enough great things about this relic and how much utility I see myself getting out of it. So I will be picking Transmutation. Actually synergizes really well with Woodsman, since you get a bunch of herb and tree seeds, you can transmute them into better seeds, and that solves your 50 mil farming right there. Should be passive at that point through tree runs and fruit tree runs. Then as my 5th relic, I have Larcenist, which synergizes very heavily with Kandarin and Tyrannin. In Kandarin, you have monsters that you can thieve for clue scrolls, and we need vestments, and you get 10x clue scrolls. So that's really great. We don't need to take the clue relic anymore because we can just drop bad steps because we get so many clues that it doesn't matter. That's fantastic. Sign me up. On top of that, the Tyrannin, this is a little bit more known, but there's like the 50 mil smithing and crafting method with stealing the teleport seeds and getting all the shards and making crystal armor or crystal weapons is and so I plan to absolutely do that. That's a fair chunk of the points that you instantly get in that region, and it's very, very helpful for getting a big spike quickly. And so I'll be taking Larcenist and running to hell with it. I touched on Slayer a little bit. There's a point in my build where there was a point in theory crafting where we just decided that Yeah, we saw it was the Echo weapons. It was when we got them, and we saw the Thermi staff, and we started looking at what it did. And I had to read this thing like 5 times because every time I read it, it just kept getting better. So we just, I mean, obviously Culling Spree is like one of the stronger relics in here. It's passive Slayer EXP, choosing your task, bossing becomes passive 0 times Slayer, which is great. And you get a 15% damage boost. All the other relics in there, it's not doing enough for me compared to this thing. And, oh man. Whew. In the wilderness with the Dust Devils and the Jellies and whatnot, now we can force Chin Slayer and train Slayer super fast. Getting 93 Slayer is going to be a breeze. It's going to be a couple of hours. Not bad at all. Excuse me 1 second. I'm talking a lot. Got to stay hydrated. Reminder to stay hydrated during leagues. Culling Spree. Good relic. I would pick it. Next, I'm going to pick Reloaded into Eternal Harvest. This is mostly Mazhar's fault because he told me he's going to wake up every 30 minutes and keep logged in. So I probably just have to do the same thing to be competitive. There's not really much. I don't know. I've looked at some other reload options that I personally think could have been viable had I been competing against someone who slept like a human. But Mazhar sleeps like a demon during leagues. So it's going to be a little bit difficult to compete with that if I don't take this. So I'm planning to take this. The last one, which is the most interesting choice, is that I will be making a game time decision on my tier 8 relic, but it's not Executioner. There are benefits to picking both of the relics that I will explain briefly at a high level. Minion is very consistent DPS, that's both single target and AoE, which has some gains, you know, like, so like the AoE effective flash is sort of nullified by the AoE damage a Guardian also offers you. But the Guardian has the Avarice Trinket effect where it loots items for you from monsters you're killing without you having to pick them up. This is super valuable in case of bones and ashes and things like this that you can transmute into higher tier resources. There's a lot of use cases there for you to get 50 mil prayer using Minion specifically, because otherwise getting 4,000 bones on your own sounds tedious. I don't know if it's very doable. The other side of it, though, is this flask thing, right? I'm gonna be kind of exhausted. This flask full heals you and it restores your prayer all the way. And prayer drain might be a concern when we're keeping 7 prayers on constantly, even with 40 prayer bonus. So I kind of need to just evaluate how the league is playing out, how the build plays out at tier 7 with the air elemental abuse build, and just kind of ultimately decide, all right, can I afford not to have the prayer restore every couple, call it a minute and a half, because the burst damage is nice, but like I look at this thing as like, hey, it's burst damage, but I've also got this like healing aspect tacked onto it that is like keeps resetting throughout my Inferno run and things like that. It's great for not needing supplies when my brain is cooked and I'm trying to avoid doing farming. So there's going to be pros and cons, and I just really need to see exactly where I'm at tier 7 before I can make a decision on which one of these two I'm really going to pick in real time. So you'll just have to watch to find out what I pick. Sorry. Anyway, I won't be showing you my combat pack trees. Those are going to be a surprise. I've kind of shared some details. Some people kind of know about it. But the general gist of it, to give you the high level, is that, we're chinning in the wilderness, so we're going to be building towards a Chinchampa tree to support that, with the node that makes them double throw. And then after that, we'll be chinning to 93 Slayer. We'll be doing like Thermi, Kraken, things like that. And then start unlocking Tyrannin as our 3rd region, and we want to work on CG. Now, Hunlift plays protection prayers, and I like the idea of prayer penetration for that. You know what else plays protection prayers? Demonic Gorillas. So we spec into a mage and prayer pen build that exclusively uses magic to clear a corrupted gauntlet and all of the tasks, and then move on to Demonic Gorillas and clear that and all of the tasks. And then after that, we can respec one more time. Well, no, 2 more times, I think, maybe. But one more time here to put in our final DPS build and start working towards that. You can keep a reset in your back pocket if you build a certain way. I'm still trying to figure out if I want to keep the backup reset or if I want to use it for some other purpose. But it's unclear exactly what I'm going to be doing with it. but I have plans for at least 2 of the resets that are suited to content I plan to do at that specific point. And that's about it. This was a little bit longer than I had intended, but I hope it was good information about my choices and why I chose certain things. I know I didn't really give arguments against the other relics, but if I did that, this video would be like 50 minutes long because I just yapped too much. So, you know, maybe this just gives you better insight into what affirmed me to make these choices. And you can infer maybe why the other relics were not as useful for me going fast, let's say. That's all I've got for now. I look forward to this league. Shout out to Jagex for making such a super interesting combat pack tree. I'm really excited to see what people cook up this league, and I'm really excited to play. So I hope to see you guys there. I hope to see you guys in the live stream on Twitch. And my next video will be after the league is over. We'll see you then.